everybody. All right, so it's been pretty quiet on the training front. We haven't had a video out to you guys in a while, and so I'm gonna finally come on and chat about everything that's been going on and hopefully give you some tips and tricks and offer our assistance to all of you that are out there trying to navigate this uncharted territory that we have found ourselves in. So first of all, I want to start with offering our coaching and our thoughts and anything that we can, our coaching staff can do for not only our existing clients, but those of you who are out there trying to navigate these uncharted territories and waters. We are doing business here at Oxygen, and when we find ourselves in a situation similar to what's going on in our economy and in our world, now is the time that sometimes you feel it necessary to reach out and need just a sounding board. And we are here to help you. So please know that there's tons of ways to get a hold of us. My ever-transforming website, which maybe will get done through this. All of our social media channels, email, whatever we can do, please know that our coaches are working and we are doing our best to get back to everyone who is looking to reach out and looking for coaching. So with that being said, we are all working from home and loving this. I will tell you that my vanity is at risk here because my hair and my nails are struggling, but I'm getting lots of exercise. So the majority of the coaching that we're doing right now is with companies that have some super deep values and are looking to entrench what they work so hard for daily, but it's being challenged. We're all being challenged. And how do we keep that at the forefront without sacrificing our profitability and the things that we maybe focus on, not incorrectly, but it's where our focus goes on a day-to-day basis. And right now, our focus is shifting. What do we have to do to keep our employees safe, our clients safe? What do we have to do to keep our doors open, our employees getting a paycheck? Crisis in general will cause us to shift our focus, and that's exactly what we have going on in our environments right now. So no matter what kind of industry you're in, obviously we work with all kinds of different businesses, no matter what kind of industry you're in. I have a couple of different, we're going to stick with the format that my videos always kind of try to fall in here. So I have 4 things that we're going to focus on, and then I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about each one. And like I said, if you have questions about how you can make this happen in your business or what to do or how it applies to you, then you can comment on the videos. We'll be watching for comments. You can reach out. Like I said, just reach out. We're here to help. That's what we're doing right now to keep people feeling confident about these uncharted waters. So the first one is going to be maximize how your employees work. And this one is really going to be how I believe this will change or shift how our workforce goes about day-to-day business after we come out of this virus and how we work going forward. Some of us have shifted our workforces to at-home work. Some of us have not been able to do that. Some of us have changed our model a little bit. So the first one is going to be working on how to maximize how your employees work. The second one is improve the number of ways your clients can interact and buy from you. We're going to talk about that. We'll dive deeper into that in a little bit, but that's number 2. Number 3 is to improve the downtime you and your employees need. We talk about balance a lot here at Oxygen. And I speak about balance from a very personal place. Balance for me is something I'm always striving for. I think all of us are always striving for balance, but how do we actually achieve it? How do we get rest? Where is that kind of tipping? When you hear me talk about balance, we're usually talking about a scale. It's not necessarily equal, but balance. Making sure that we're using this time to truly get that. This is not the time to be running yourself ragged and compromising a healthy body and a healthy immune system because of worry and exhaustion. This is the time to be resting and eating well. And obviously we aren't necessarily eating out a ton. We're probably cooking, we're eating properly, we're getting some rest, some exercise, things like that. Then the last one is cut the fat. Now, this one is something that you have to get super comfy with, as in get out your comfy jammy pants, because this is going to involve your bookkeeper, your accountant, however you manage numbers. We all have to get out our P&L. We have to get out our expenses, and we have to start deciding maybe things that we did in a moment of convenience. Now's the time to trim them back because they're not a necessity. I started maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I set calendar reminders when I add something to my expenses that I am not sure if I want to keep or is not a necessity. I actually started doing it with subscription services. When they were set for auto renewal, I would add it into my calendar to make sure I wanted to truly renew that certain item. There's still a ton that automatically renew if we're not careful. Now might be the time to go through and start cutting the fat. So those are the 4. Maximize how your employees work, improve the number of ways your clients can interact and buy from you, improve the downtime you and your employees need, and cut the fat. Okay, so let's dive into each one of those a little bit more. Maximize your employees. Who can work from home? Obviously, depending on where you are watching these videos from, we're getting, and thank you for those of you who share us, we're getting kind of a large footprint. So depending on how this virus has impacted you, you could be forced to be at home. You could be at home because you're choosing to be at home, however that works for you. Who can work from home, and are they more efficient? When you start looking at how they're getting their work done, can they get more work done in less time at home than they get done at work? Similar to the companies that give their employees all the vacation time that they want, they can choose, rather than saying you get 2 weeks, you get 3 weeks. You know what? Take as much time as you want, just get your work done. That's kind of the philosophy that we're looking at here. For some people to work in the peace and quiet of their home with their dogs at their feet, without the interaction of the water cooler drama, or constantly somebody over their shoulder, or getting to work in their pajamas a couple days a week, they are more productive in 2 hours at home than they could be in 8 hours at work. Now, that doesn't mean that they should work 4 sets of 8 hours at home and quadruple their work for you. But we're clearly missing what the motivator is for that one person who can work more efficiently for 2 hours at home than they can work at 2 hours in the office. And that opens the discussion, should that person work from home 2 to 3 days a week? What is the distraction at the office for that person? Can you maybe increase that person's workload by half, not by 4? That's unfair to the employee. But as an incentive to work from home, maybe that is something that they're looking for. As a single mom, on 2 to 3 days a week, that was something that I was looking for. And I was willing to take on that workload if I could have the flexibility. We've talked about that a couple of times. If I could get my kids on the bus, work from home, and then be home for off the bus and dinner, I was more than willing to do that. And being at work, I was a resource for a lot of people. So while I needed to be a part of the team, it impeded the work I was getting done for my own clients. So I had to choose to work from home other than on team building days. So you have to kind of watch the dynamics that you're getting from your team members right now. I will say very, very cautiously to those of you who are thrust into your team is working from home. Find an IT person who can get you a VPN, a virtual private network, and this is the IT geek in me, will protect your company. And I realized that not everybody was ready for that. I am happy to refer a fantastic company that can help you with all of that. Your cellular provider, in some cases, depending on how you're set up, can help you with that, but you want a VPN. You want those extra layers of security, especially depending on the amount of information or the type of information that's going back and forth. So get a read on how productive your employees are and offer it as an added benefit. Trust me, there are employees that should not work at home. This will be a short-term stay and they should go directly back to the office. Not everybody can work at home. Not everybody wants to work from home, but there are some people who you will get. It'll kind of be that optimal bell curve where they do great for you at work, but if you send them home, there's that much more. And they will be missed at the office, but from a productivity standpoint and a creative standpoint and their unique thoughts, when we go back to that triangle, you want them to be able to work from home a little bit more. Okay, get creative. So studies have been done that say we want 7 options to make money in our business. Now that can be about your personal portfolio as well, but that's not really what we're talking about right now. Can you look at your business and say that there's 7 different ways for you to make money in your company? Now, for some people, let's take the restaurant business right now. This is probably going to be a little bit of a stretch, but we'll use it because it's a little bit of an extreme. For some higher end restaurants that were closed, especially in the state that I live in, they didn't necessarily do carry out. They wanted you to come in. It was about the dining experience. They aren't doing any dine-in service where I live right now. So they have closed that down, and I have this crazy picture in my head that they were probably out buying to-go containers within hours of that because we could still offer to-go services. They're all now offering delivery services. Some of them are filling your own growler if you have alcohol because they have tapped beer. So they completely expanded what they were offering. We have a very high-end steakhouse here. They're also selling raw food so that you can take it home and actually cook it yourself. So not only will they sell you the finished product, but they will also sell you the raw steak. So, he went totally wide scale and offered a ton of different options. So if you look at your business, obviously you've been forced into change. Some of us, myself included, I sometimes drag my feet long enough that I have to be forced into change. We have how we do business in our normal lane. If you don't have 7, let's aim for the 7 ways to make money. How are you making money now in this added kind of width that we have to accommodate ourselves in? Are you at 7 now? If we take how we used to make money before and how we're trying to make money now, are you at 7 yet? And if you aren't at 7 yet, where else can you expand? Do we need to add a virtual service on social media? Do we need to add some consulting services? Do we need an additional product? Is there something that you can do to accent your current services? We're aiming for 7. And if you are struggling to come up with ideas, then maybe it's time to rally your team on a conference call and ask them what their customers are asking for. How can they be of added service, and where can you charge for it? Because while we want to maintain our lane, that doesn't mean our lane can't get a little wider. It means we don't want to be in another highway. And this is where people are going to get creative. Once we have those 7, if you're thinking, okay, Kat, we have 7, we're good, we're just struggling. Now we can look at those 7 and decide what's the ones that are the least effective, the least profitable. We're not going to sit in this situation and be great. Nobody's going to be booming unless you're 3M, or I've heard some really unique ingenuity coming out of this situation, but nobody's making a killing profitability wise in this situation. But now look at your 7 and decide, okay, if one that you're doing now is your least profitable, what can you do to pour some marketing into it? Draw your team's attention to it. What can we do to boost it? If your least profitable is one that you do day to day and you can't touch it right now, that's not something that we can talk about. And maybe that's one that we need to draw attention to later. But if you're doing it now, draw some attention to it. Put it on your social. Ask people to make some phone calls. Where can we do it? If we look at the numbers don't lie. And if we have to be positive, if we have to put a smile on our face and we have to do something that's going to be different than watching news or being hum and glum about some of the pretty gnarly, nasty things that are going on in our economy and in our world right now, then we'll look at our business numbers and we'll draw some attention to something that maybe we can have some control over. So take a look at those 7 things, make it 7. And you know what, if it's 5 and you're still trying to figure out what those other 2 are, then let's figure out what those other 2 are and figure out what the least one of the 5 is. And then we draw up the 5. Don't get stuck on having 7, but if you don't have 7, that's where we need to start figuring out. Draw your team together and figure out where the 7 are. Time to talk numbers. All right, so as business owners, and even as big individual contributors, we cannot walk around in life not knowing our numbers. Even if you're a salesperson, if you run a household, if you, wherever you're at in life, you should know what your budget is. You should know what your quota is. You should know what you have to do today to hit your numbers. Knowing your numbers, as much as it might make you anxious, it also will make you more calm than not knowing. So if you are in charge of a P&L or you are in charge of an expense sheet, then it's time to start trimming the fat. Now, do not misconstrue me. That does not mean necessarily laying people off. I just talked to a client this morning, and he said, we're going to make it this week, but next week, if things continue to get thin, I'm going to have to lay somebody off. And the economic packages that are on the table right now, you have to talk to your accountant about it if you're an owner. In some cases, it may benefit people to be laid off, knowing that they have security when business comes back and everyone's healthy again. You have to know the numbers. You also have to know what you have in your business that's convenient, that's a nice to have, and that's a have to have. You have to turn the lights on. You don't have to have coffee delivery. You kind of have to decide where you're going to pick and choose, and you have to make those choices. maybe you have to have coffee delivery. Maybe that was a bad choice. You know where you can pick and choose. You know, in your own household, maybe you cut out your laundry service or your cleaning service and you do it yourself for a little while, and you pay your cleaning lady half of what you would normally pay her. But you have to know where the numbers are. You have to know how long that you can go with your current situation. Talk to your accountant. I will always, always, always be an advocate of having your professional team in place and ready to go. I have received 3 emails from my accountant in the last 2 weeks with consistent updates and willingness to help. My niece who owns a business, I have referred my personal accountant to her as she's kind of getting up and going. Those people are staged and ready to go. Just like we started this situation with my team, ready to jump in and help if you need them. It's time. So jump on a Zoom call. Zoom is free apparently now for a little while with your accountant, so you can see their face and get the advice that you need. They aren't just there to file your taxes. They are there to help you kind of trudge through this unknown and give you some advice that's unemotional and uncharged, and ready to help you move forward. So the last thing I want to talk about today, and this is going to be a little bit longer video, so I apologize, but there's kind of a lot going on, so I want to make sure that you have all the information that you can to make some strategic steps going forward, is leading and lagging indicators. And we've talked about this a couple times, but here's the reason why I want to address this kind of along the lines of talking to your accountant. What you set up now, no matter how sludgy you think this is, or how slow or frustrated you get, talking to your team or talking to your family about things kind of maybe in a downturn or any of those things, what you set up now will help you and pay off later when things start to turn around again. So a leading indicator is things that you do today that will pay off later. A lagging indicator is a number that you can see as a result. So I sold 50 items and I can see that. That's a lagging indicator. A leading indicator is I touched base with 5 clients today to make sure they were okay. I didn't sell them anything, but I just reached out, touched base, set up a time that we would talk after things got okay. And I think that if you have a team or you personally are in charge of a quota-bearing number, don't get stuck in the minutia of not being able to create a difference in your business today. A leading indicator is just as important as a lagging indicator that you may not like the result of, because what you invest in your business today in time and value will pay off when this time in our environment lapses. So maximize how your employees are working. Improve how, those kind of 7 areas are about where you're at there. Improve the time that your employees can be down. Let them rest. Take care of yourselves. Take care of them. We talked about that. Now's the time to be eating your vegetables and going for a walk outside within a certain amount of distances, getting some time in with your family and your dogs. Nala has not been wandering around here today, but she's super excited that her humans are home all the time. And cut your fat. You know where it's at. And, I'll have some pretty gnarly hair roots here for a little while. I'll probably be coaching in a baseball cap as we get this going. But we're here for you. Give back to the people that are around you. Give back to your clients. Give back to your employees. They will remember what this was like. And you want your name and your business attached to the people that gave back, not the people that crawled under a rock. So remember, it always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Mandela. I believe we talked about this before, but I think that it's even more fitting now than the last time we talked about it. It all seems impossible right now, but once this is over, I think we're all going to breathe a huge sigh of relief. So on that note, I hope everybody takes just a little bit of time to breathe life in today, and I can't wait to hear from everybody. Have a great day.